Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today it is time for a professional match of StarCraft 2. Spawning here in the southeast corner of Cairo's Junction and playing with the red Zerg drones. He's from Germany. He's a YouTube channel favorite. I think a lot of people really enjoy watching this man's creative strategies. They call him Dr. Dario. He's been around since the very beginning of SC2. We have none other than TLO. I always enjoy watching TLO because, I mean, he plays creative builds and he's been around since the very beginning of SC2. I remember watching him play back in like 2010 when StarCraft first came out. His opponent, though, in the opposite corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs. I think this man, when StarCraft 2 first came out, he must have been like 7 or 8 years old. He's from France. He's already considered to be one of the very best Terran players in Europe. Of course, we have none other than Clem. So here we go. This should be a really fun match. We have old school going up against new school. We have orthodox playstyles, generally speaking, from Clem, and then the crazy strategies that TLO likes to go for. Here's what I personally enjoy about TLO's playstyles. He doesn't really play what other Zerg players seem to assume is the current standard. Nowadays in SC2, we have a so-called standard. There's a lot of variety when it comes to playing the standard, but there's still like this so-called meta game that people, generally speaking, do try to follow. Now, TLO, look at that! Already going for an extremely quick roach warren. He doesn't mind messing up the current so-called normal, right? It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. He likes to play his own way and his own styles while still focusing on a macro-focused game. Now, I say that, this quick roach warren certainly could be a lot of aggression here as well. It is key that this one scouting SCV that Clem is currently sending across the map does not make its way into the main base. If this one scouts the roach warren, Clem is going to have a very easy time preparing here, but he sees the delay right there on the hatchery on the low ground. That's all the information he's looking for, because Zerg players open up with a spawning pool first all the time, right? They try and kill the SCV that, you know, is building a command center on the low ground. Going for a pool first essentially forces the Reaper to stay at home. And who in their right mind follows this up right now with a really quick roach warren? Well, apparently, Mr. Creative himself is gonna be doing exactly that. We'll see how much damage he wants to go for here and how much damage he's gonna be able to deal. I'm personally curious to see how many roaches he produces. So we currently see 4 right here on the production tab. I can imagine he's gonna make like a round of roaches and then transition towards more macro. Yeah, there we go. So it's gonna be a round of roaches and then back to droning. Okay. Obviously, keep in mind, this is going to delay Zergling speed and all of that, but Clem, who is currently opening up with what seems to be a standard 1-1-1 opener, is certainly going to be caught with his pants down. I do know that Clem every once in a while likes to go for the barracks into factory into third command center before starport. Maybe that's TLO trying to play through, you know, with that strategy in mind. Maybe he wants to try and play to that advantage. If you go for a third CC right now, I feel like these roaches would probably be game ending. But here we go. They're going to show themselves now that they have made their way across the map. And keep in mind, on the back of this, TLO is just simply making a workers. So as long as he manages to deal some sort of damage here, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. Apparently, the choice of target firing right now is going to be the reactor. Now, I love the response right here from Clem. Immediately going into the concussive shell upgrade. And then also actually following it up here with a tech lab on the starport. So eventually, there should be like a benchy out, right? That's going to be able to get rid of all of this. But TLO, at the very least, is dealing a little bit of damage here. And he's at the very least making it so that this orbital command on the low ground currently can't really produce any SCVs. Let's see if he gets a favorable trade right here as well. The roaches are clumping up together quite a bit. This does force TLO to actually, take quite a lot of damage. He actually seems to have hit a supply block in the meantime at home as well, which is going to be quite frustrating indeed. But eventually, all of these roaches will be cleaned up. The Zerglings trying to get a little bit of work done as well, but TLO has been deflected. So let's have a look. I guess in the grand scheme of things, right? There's a small advantage right there for Zerg. And yeah, that's going to make this, I guess, a bit of an explosive early game here for the red Zerg player. In the meantime, though, he took himself that third hatchery here already. He does have Zerglings right now and Metabolic Boost coming up as well, so he should be able to deflect all of this aggression that Clem wants to go for with relative ease. It is going to be that Cloaking Field upgrade that will now be scouted as well by the German Zerg player, who will know that indeed there's going to be that green light inside of the tech lab, and that's going to be all the information that he needs. He also saw the Banshee leaving the main base, so at the very least he should be able to defend with Spore Crawlers here in just a sec. Metabolic Boost, though, is finishing up. Zerglings have made their way towards the left-hand side of the map. No third command center just yet. Actually, that one is going to be built inside of the main base, so the wall right here is indeed not completed just yet, and Zerglings stream into the mineral line. At the same time, the Banshee have made their way across the map, but that one will be deflected with ease. It will not go down, and Zerglings still are going to town in the mineral line. Even though there were a couple of Hellions waiting there, the Zerglings did successfully manage to get us around on them, and that now means that SCVs will be picked off as well. Apparently, see a little bit of target firing there on those supply depots. Eventually, though, I think that TLO is going to be forced to go back home with a couple of those leftover Zerglings, but that is once again a little bit of damage, and at a timing that generally speaking we don't see from Zerg. Generally speaking, right? The third command center of Terran goes down at about 4.5 minutes right over here, right? That's usually what we see in Zerg versus Terran. However, because of that early game roach play, the third CC was delayed there from Clem because he had to remake some of those SCVs, and he was obviously just delayed a little bit, which meant that the Zerglings could get in there. It's all calculated and it's all very smart. It wouldn't normally work to just send a bunch of Zerglings in there because, you know, Terrans would just finish up the wall, but TLO knows exactly what he's doing, and right now he's transitioning towards what seems to be an old school kind of style as well. We see that Spire coming up, and it is going to be that Baneling Nest too. So likely it's going to be Mutaling Bane right here for the German Zerg. The French Terran player, though, is currently moving across the map, bringing a couple of SCVs. I love this. This position right here by the rocks is extremely strong, right? Oh, dude, I love this. I really, really wish that more Terran players would do this. So this is going to be like the slowest of slow pushes, okay? I think what he's planning on doing is just slowly building up a couple of those bunkers, making it hard for Zerg to engage, and then utilizing the terrain right here to get maximum value out of the range there that these siege tanks provide. Really wonderful move here by Clem. Now, obviously, the downside with this kind of play is that, yes, the third base will likely end up going down, but it takes forever. And in the meantime, Zerg indeed does have the option to go for maybe some run-bys and counterattacks as well, because a lot of Terran army here will be caught up on the other side of the map. The Banshees, though, trying their best. One of them will be picked off as well. Skander in the natural does confirm that mutas are going to be the name of the game, but I mean, mutas aren't going to break this, right? I mean, how? Yeah, that's not going to happen. TLO, though, already responding right here in kind. I think he assumes that the third base is going to go down, so he's retaking the third at another location instead. I don't really see how he's going to be able to keep this base alive. This is, yeah, especially now with missile turrets coming up, mutas are just not going to cut it. Right, maybe the Banshees can be deflected, but I feel like this base is mostly just on a timer right now. In the meantime, though, there's a lot of Zerglings out on the map. TLO could decide to go for an all-out assault on the other side, and I don't think actually that's a terrible idea. If you can blow up the wall right here, right, and run the lings in, yes, you will lose the third base, but maybe you can kill your opponent's natural as well. Another siege tank, though, inching forward, and I think that one might be, yes. Well, is it? Yeah, no, it is going to be in range right there of the hatch, so that hatch is pretty much as good as dead. More Banelings, though, are morphing in, and here we go. TLO apparently wants to go for a bit of a push right here as well. Does not wait for those extra reinforcing Banelings to finish up. Instead, he's just going to blow up the wall right there, utilizing some Banes and then also some of those Mutalisks and Zerglings. Missile turret does get picked off, but these Banes, I think they were actually needed. If you had those, maybe you could have done a little bit more damage there, but Clem manages to hold on. And indeed, I think that tank, yes, it is in range of the third base. So TLO, I mean, he's going to try and hold on. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I mean, I looked at this a little while ago. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure this hatch will end up going down here, and two siege tanks right now are firing away at it. The hatch falls, and these drones are going to have to find new mineral patches to harvest. Already, though, TLO has been focusing on some creep spread over here, and obviously, he got himself this base up over here in the, or I guess on the left-hand side of the main base a little while ago. Alrighty. So, the third command center, though, of Terran has been delayed tremendously, right? I mean, we saw it building a little while ago, but it only is just now looking to land. I think that's primarily because so much of that Terran army is caught up on the other side of the map. A couple of Widow Mines right now joining the fray as well. I love that decision there from Clem. Really good work. I mean, obviously you need those Widow Mines to properly deal with that. Siege tanks really aren't going to cut it here against Mutaling Bane, generally speaking, but that command center is actually taking quite a bit of damage. And so far, right, it kind of looks like this Terran player is, in a way, contained on 2 bases. Zerg hasn't really set up like an entrenched position very much, but the Terran player certainly hasn't been able to mine that many resources here in the grand scheme of things. This kind of is like it's kind of like an old school game, but it's very new school in the way that both players are maneuvering across the map and the ways that they are engaging, right? I really love this. So cool. This is kind of like a 2010 game played in 2019 with the skill that people have acquired. I mean, back in 2010, if you wanted to get rid of mutas, Terran players would just like army hotkey all of their marines and stim all of them and then try to run into the main base. It was dumb. People didn't even like really make missile turrets and all that to defend against stuff. And the skill level right now, I mean, if you compare a game like this, right, back to like 2010, I think you will just sort of giggle at the skill level that people had back in 2010. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're like a Platinum League player, you could win like the first GSL Code S. Obviously, it took a long time to refine a lot of the build orders and strategies and to figure out what the strengths and weaknesses and whatnot of certain units are, but it's almost ironic to look at like the first GSL. The skill level is just so much weaker. I mean, the first premier event in StarCraft, right, was won by Morrow. I don't know how many of you remember that. That's back in 2010. But he literally won the event playing Mass Reaper. And I mean, not like Mass Reaper, like the way that Bjorn used to play it, but here we go. Big engagement. TLO apparently is smelling blood in the water. He wants to move forward right here. That's a lot of Marines. Excellent control so far on those Marines as well by Clem, but the front door is down and Zerg units do manage to make their way towards the natural expansion. A lot of Marines are still being produced as Widow Mines set up everywhere, so you need to be cautious here if you're Zerg. Losing these mutas would be a disaster, but great splitting right there, running a couple of Zerglings ahead, making sure that they trigger the Widow Mines, and now apparently it is going to be these mutas and Zerglings trying to target fire down the command center, which does end up falling, and in the process, we see 12 SCVs losing their life here as well. Beautiful moves here by TLO, man. Playing so cool. Like, such a weird way of playing, but really, really nice. I love it. Now, I can't help but wonder whether or not Clem should not just, like, send these units home, right? Should you not just salvage the bunkers, get some of your money back? I mean, that's a couple hundred resources right there caught up. 2 tanks is really nice as well to have. I guess he's just simply... I don't mind it necessarily either, though. Like, this is now essentially completely shutting off one attack pass on the map. Zerg can overwhelm this right now, but does Zerg really want to fight an army that's technically not even really part of the main army? I guess it sort of shuts off an attack path here, and that's really what Terran wants, right? If you can force Zerg to stay in just one area of the map only, it makes them much easier to predict. Mutas, though, they can obviously fly over the terrain, and they're always a little bit tricky to predict, as now with this amount of mutas, you can even start target firing down some of these missile turrets. A couple of the mutas, though, definitely overextending there. The main command center has floated over towards the 3rd base. As the mutas get into the main, they try and do a little bit of damage, but I think they should be deflected here eventually. Alright, so there is a transition right now coming up here for TLO. He's getting himself the Pathogen Glands upgrade for the Infestors. He's now getting Infestors as well. Obviously, fungal growth, where your opponent is playing mostly just a marine-based army, is phenomenal. So I like the idea here, but obviously it does come down to the micro. Oh man, he's playing dangerous games with these Mutalisks. Alright. Well, he's not actually going to stop playing mutas yet either. So, Hive is just about to finish. I was going to say, maybe he can go up to like a Great Aspire, but he's not going to. Mutas, though, still picking up so many reinforcements. Well, I mean, he can play a Great Aspire later on. If he gets the medevac, oh! So close. Does manage to get it, but a bunch of Marines get out. It almost feels like he's trying to throw away these mutas, though, right? Trying to get favorable trade, but just throw them away eventually. That Widow Mine, oh, there you go. Good control, though. Oh! Did you see that? Did you see him splitting that one Mutalisk that was being target fired there? You know the speed that requires? Oh. Alright, well, hey, eventually these mutas are going to be picked off, but more apparently are being produced. That's another very strange move, though. I know I'm really highlighting TLO so far in this game. Really want to compliment Clem as well on the way that he's holding on here, but Who goes... oh, man. These couple of Widow Mines actually just cleaned up a whole lot more mutas. But who then throws ahead or throws away so many mutas, then starts Carapace? Okay, he is going to go Greater Spire. I was going to say, who then starts Carapace and then makes more mutas? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. I do think going Greater Spire right now into Infestor Brute Lord, I mean, that's another 2011 strategy, I suppose, is a great way of going about this. I like it. Okay. In the meantime, though, in the camp of Clem. Clem likes to play a much more orthodox style. He doesn't really mess around nearly as much. I mean, Marines, Widow Mines, and then also Medevacs. That is something we have seen 1,000 times in StarCraft. What makes Clem scary is that he's very, very good at doing exactly that. Now, it looks like finally Zerg wants to go ahead and engage this entrenched position. He kind of needs this base here. I mean, the creep spread has been halted quite a while, I guess, but eventually this will all be cleaned up and Clem loses more supply here as well. I think what the French Terran player wants to go for right now is a big push. Yeah, indeed, wants 3-3 finishes and then also drilling claws. He's got a lot of solid upgrades coming up right now, and with good control, right? If you clean up some of the creep and you slowly move your army towards those outer expansion of Zerg, you can do a lot of damage. Well, those Widow Mines certainly are worth their weight in gold as Clem picks them up. And soon, obviously, with that change right here on that drilling claws upgrade, these Widow Mines are going to be cloaked as well. And that's going to make them significantly scarier. Alrighty. Now, Clem does know he needs to start up a transition, right? Has he seen the main base? He hasn't seen the... Okay, I was going to say, he kind of needs to see the Greater Spire and... You know, immediately, as soon as I mentioned it, it's like he can read my mind. You should try and figure out whether or not Brute Lords are going to be underway. We do see that Ghost Academy coming up right now. A couple of barracks are being planted down as well. I think all of these barracks are going to have tech labs on them. You essentially need to get either Vikings or Ghosts in order to deal successfully with that Brute Lord-based army. Ghosts obviously are really good as well when it comes to EMPing down those little infestors. They still look small to me. Remember when they made them like 20% smaller or so, like a half year ago? It actually was a pretty significant buff to the unit because they don't bump into each other nearly as much anymore. But, ooh, I like that. An attempted move there, but sports already. So they are detected, but they are much smaller and it makes them significantly easier to maneuver as well. But anyways, EMPs on infestors and then snipe some Brute Lords. It would be a pretty sweet way of playing this one out right now, I think. Alright, so it is going to be Ghosts and Vikings. So that means it mostly comes down right now to unit control. I think that's one of the things that Clem really shines at, though. The man is scary when it comes to his unit control. He's a very fast player as well. I mean, I say that, and apparently we see TLO spiking at like 2,000 APM. Don't know what the man is pressing, man. What in the world? How does he have 2,000 APM right now? How does he have two? Okay, it's going down to only a mere 1,200. What in the world? How is his average APM 876? He must have like an insane repeat rate on his keyboard. I know that's like a recent thing that a lot of players have been doing lately. Oh my god, a Widow Mine drop! Tried to burrow the Widow Mines underneath the Brute. It wasn't gonna happen. Some players have got an insane repeat rate on their keyboard, which basically makes it impossible to type, but it makes you produce units really fast. Well, here we go. The Zerg army is on the prowl. There's a planetary fortress here as well. The Banelings ready to connect with as many of those juicy bio units as possible. Now with roaches into the mix as well. TLO seems to overwhelm the base, but the planetary fortress is still alive, and he does decide to back up here. I kind of feel like he needed to target fire down that command center for a little bit longer. The transition right now to roaches, very curious. I think they may actually be a response to seeing those ghosts coming out as well. Obviously with the roaches in front, right, the infestors can sit in the back a lot more comfortably, and I guess with queens right now in the fray and a slow push with spore crawlers, this Zerg army is actually really scary. It's gonna at the very least prevent this base from landing here for a little while. Clem does still have 4 bases mining right now though, and that's still, I guess it's 3 bases right now, but that's still a scary amount of economy here. TLO slow pushing forward, adding on more Brute Lords and more infestors. The base in the center can't be acquired. Zerg knows about that. He does have a infested overseer, or I guess just an overseer. An infested overlord, okay? An overseer. Look at the amount of ice that thing has. It's incredible. It's now got a little thingy above it as well for even more ice. But this one is scouting whether or not the base over here is taken. So TLO knows about all of the potential expansion locations right now. And it kind of feels like to me, right, that Clem is essentially contained on the amount of bases that he's got. TLO is okay with Terran having 4 bases mining, But as soon as they mine out, right, Terran is going to be in a world of hurt. So I think he wants to probably prevent the 5th base from ever going up while mining more than his opponent. I think that's going to be the strategy right now for TLO. He's just simply trying to trade at least somewhat efficiently and then soft contain this Terran player on the amount of bases here available. That's a lot of ghosts, though. That's a lot of ghosts. Whoa, that fungal! Oh, that fungal! Oh my god, that's a disaster! Those ghosts are so expensive, right? Fungal growth on them, and then the follow-up with that ground army all of a sudden makes these Brute Lords so much more terrifying. Yes, I mean, I guess Vikings can be useful, but these Brutelings are not gonna stop hurting, right? The Queens actually can help out quite a bit here as well. They're still infestors. They're gonna be able to utilize their fungal growths. Ravagers right now joining the fray. I guess they are here to zone away a lot of this army as well. That planetary fortress is in a world of hurt, and it will be picked off as well. Couple of... Oh my god, I love this strategy so much. This is so cool, right? Who switches back to Roach Ravager at this point in the game where you can max out on more infestors and Brute Lords? This is the kind of stuff that shows me that, like, we think we know StarCraft very well right now. And I know I was making fun of 2010 StarCraft, you know, just a little bit ago. But I wonder if that's going to be the same as well in a couple years' time, that we don't realize, oh my god, all these players playing Brute Lord Infestor, trying to go high-tier units. Everyone knows you should go Roaches, right? Like, Roaches. Who the heck goes back to Roaches? Alright, well, turns out, while Clem manages to hold on right now, he has been on the back foot for like the last, I would say, 10 minutes or so of this game, right? He's still holding on, but he's slowly chipped away at. Clem trying his very best to stay in this game, going for that Marine Marauder Medevac Mine Ghost-based army. A couple of Vikings still in the fray as well, but I just see the Zerg player continuously grow in strength, whereas the Terran player is up with his back against the wall constantly. Now, he does acquire a new base over here, but, I mean, that's once again 4 bases only, right? The base over here was picked off, so it's not gonna be giving Terran player the Terran player here that sick economy that he's so desperately looking for. Gotta be cautious, though. Can't really afford going for ghosts if you don't have, you know, a ground army to support it either. We do see a good EMP landing right there on, I think, 1 infestor, but Zerg is smelling blood in the water right now as a lot of those Zerg units are flooding towards the newly acquired base. TLO playing a creative style, and it once again allows him to obtain the victory. What a cool style. Seriously, that was really sick. I hope you enjoyed watching that as well. The Zerg in me got very excited over that. I hope I did at least a decent enough job explaining why the strategies that he is playing are a little bit strange and a little bit weird, and why, you know, they work for him, but no one else seems to make that happen. It's so cool. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button down below. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button so you get notifications as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.